The Industrial Revolution transformed the economy based on large-scale industrial processes where fossil fuels were primarily needed and soon integrated into daily life. However, as fossil fuels persisted into the mainstream, they started to impoverish daily life and interrupt nature's cycle, being connected to phenomena such as human diseases, extreme weathering, and rising sea levels that will soon foresee a transformation into a global crisis. Global crisis that scales up to the death of our planet, which is currently befalling to fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are valuable resources, however, are contradictory. It's a core essential to life, therefore it is the largest extracted resource. However, produces CO2 or carbon dioxide, a driver to global climate change, and has been linked to millions of premature deaths annually. This graph shows 5 sources of data studies. Ohra et al., a study investigated with 6 researchers in 2021, shows significant information as it presents the amount of deaths from burning fossil fuels, estimating the incline of 8.7 million deaths each year. To compare by deaths, burning fossil fuels are 189.29% further than obesity. Investigation study by Liviladid et al. In 2015 constructed a map chart outlining the number of air pollution deaths. The map chart provides the incline of deaths from 2015 and establishes the primary consumer, China, India, and the United States. This means that the countries are the main contributors to 89% of global CO2 produced. Also notable that a total of 140,231 terawatt hours have been spent on fossil fuels since the 19th century to the 24th century. This only begs the question, why are fossil fuels still used? An interview was conducted with a science teacher to gain his retrospective on the topic.
What do you think about fossil fuels?
I think that they're a short-term solution, but they're not the way of the future. Fossil fuels, they're very polluting, but unfortunately so some of the solar panels, they're also very polluting in how we mine the materials used for them. So fossil fuels, we have to use them in the meantime until we get it sorted.
Next question. Why do you think fossil fuels are still being used?
I think changing the system to renewable resources takes a bit of cost, and I think that's what discourages people. I think it's just that they're afraid to change to the new system and reinvest in a new direction. All of the old systems, like old car engines, would have to be redesigned and have to melt them down. So it's just a hassle that people don't want. But that doesn't mean we can continue using it forever. So there's pros and cons.
Will there be any hardships on replacing fossil fuels?
People might need to order new equipment. New equipment would have to be arranged. For example, if you have like a standard combustion engine for your car, you have to change it for an electric, and then we have to get new batteries for those cars. Or everyone has to take their bicycle instead. And what would happen with all the cars? So I don't know. There's going to be some hardships in that way. Yep.
Last question. What are the pros and cons are there for fossil fuels? And does the benefits outweigh the sustainable options?
Let's see. I don't think that the benefits of fossil fuels outweigh the sustainable options benefit. They still have more benefit. But there are some small benefits of using fossil fuels in that you can store them easily. Whereas storage of renewable energy, not easy. You need batteries, or you need some water reservoir, which is massive. Other than that, there's not much benefit.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you.
More in depth, fossil fuels are accessible sources of energy. Countries such as India and China are dependent on fossil fuels. Their versatility is boundless and a mandatory component for oil-driven mechanisms, heavily used for factory use. Oil as a foundational material has created the most important industries in the world, a key driver to the global economy. The energy sector hired 41 million people in 2019 and 10.3 million people specialized in oil and gas supplies, accounting for 8% of US GDP. And due to its high demand, it is a factor that most oil-enriched countries are relying on, such as Saudi Arabia, a country entirely relying on oil and accumulated $210.6 billion in oil revenues in the US. Because of its popularity, there are no signs of declining demands, and political setbacks are encouraging its rise by promoting fossil fuels. politician Peter Dutton attempts to weaken environmental legislation and fast-track offshore petroleum and gas mines in the biddings of large industry oil companies. Another political setback is the approval of fossil fuel projects and governments that withhold their sustainability due to weak legislation structures and accountability, as well as poor management in all areas of life. Fossil fuels have led to the millions of deaths to tons of carbon dioxide and diseases. However, continues because of its efficient and energy-powering capabilities that are used to thrive economies, even creating on a country's entire economy. The industry generates 40 million barrels per day. These barrels are then exported to countries all over the world, primarily USA, China, and India, contributing to our largest problem yet, climate change, one of many problems.
Climate change is a name that has created an impact across millions of lives. It is previously known that it is derived from carbon dioxide, and as it lingers to damage the atmosphere, it becomes a product of frequent droughts, intense heat waves, floods, tsunamis, melting glaciers and ice sheets, and ocean acidification. Phenomena such as these lead to a branch of complications that can displace millions and kill millions or change the entire structure of the world, such as rising sea levels. The first commonly known product is air pollution, produced from fossil fuel combustion, and releases pollutants containing particle matter, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. These substances are linked to multiple health problems including respiratory diseases, asthma, lung cancer and cardiovascular issues, increasing the risk of strokes and heart attacks. Air pollution is a key factor to impacts on health and well-being, but it is also interconnected to other problems, most crucially, environmental degradation. This phenomenon occurs from events from desertification to salinization. It is inevitable, however, further exacerbated with man-made pollution. The extreme weather events can damage the ecosystems through shear force and atmospheric warming, tearing the biodiversity apart, leading to habitat loss, deforestation, and more pollution. Particularly Antarctica's ice sheet that can raise sea levels to 50 meters. Hypothesized by 450 polar researchers according to ABC News. The biodiversity of a biome contains resources that are essential to our daily lives. A biome's degradation can lead to the decline of agricultural productivity, creating social products of food insecurity and disruption of supply chains that can cause social tension within communities, even so far as committing assaults, evidently shown from Australia's toilet paper crisis in COVID, televised through ABC News, and can be much worse when food shortages are frequent and long-lasting. The influence of natural disasters or pollution towards urban areas can be a synergy for chaos, as massive destruction can occur along the infrastructures of buildings and, as a result, cause widespread financial losses, including the rise of insurance costs, which burdens individuals and businesses, as well as displacement within the community. The consequences of fossil fuels are steadily increasing, reinforcing its potency. Its future has been foreshadowed by the loss of biodiversity through weathering and pollution that lies at the foundation of resources, and the poor effects on well-being, affecting the outcomes between life and death for premature children. However, despite these hardships from fossil fuels, there has been methods capable of revolutionizing the way we generate energy safely without the need of pollutants, using sustainable resources such as solar, wind, and hydro.
Solar energy is one of the most common sources of clean energy across Australia. It produces little to no carbon emissions and is an inexpensive alternative that can be easily harnessed. There is enough solar radiation from the sun to generate electricity for up to 1 year, and converting solar energy into electricity is possible by photovoltaic cells and solar thermal collectors. These are integrated into a singular solar panel. The solar panel captures sunlight through a process called the photovoltaic effect, containing properties of specific materials, such as semiconductors, which reacts to sunlight and produces an electrical current. In the past decade, solar panels have been increasingly effective, as it has an annual growth rate of 25% and has the capabilities to power 25 million homes, with 137.5 gigawatts in the United States. It also provides more job opportunities, as the solar industry supports over 263,883 in 2022, an increase of 3.5% demand from 2021. Ironically, as solar panels may be inexpensive, it is still expensive initially, covering the costs of panels, inverters, batteries, and installation up to 7,683 Australian dollars. However, are capable of saving money from electrical mortgages between $25,000 to $110,000 in its lifetime. Half of its lifetime would be unproductive. This is because of its reliability on the sun's radiation that brings it to a great disadvantage during cloudy or night periods. Hydropower involves the movement of water. It relies on the endless cycle of the water cycle to generate electricity. It requires a dam or diversion structure for hydropower plants to take place, which allows for the process to convert the wave's kinetic energy into electricity and prevent marine life from interfering. For this to happen, it must use throttling assistance from turbines and generators, which alters the current of the water to allow them to vigorously flow as waves and generate electricity through kinetic energy. A hydro plant is built to withstand for a prolonged time. Most hypothesize that these large infrastructures would deteriorate in the next 25 years. However, were proven to be twice longer. Its process of generating electricity holds no constraints, as it does not deplete water, nor does it have any period of energy downtime compared to solar energy. This makes hydropower the most appealing sustainable energy and the most reliable energy in the world. Many speculate that countries would not have the capabilities to reach 100% sustainability without hydropower. It prevented 100 million tons of carbon dioxide in the past 50 years alone. Energy is also one of the most common of renewable sources alongside solar that involves the flow of wind. As confusing as it may seem, it is a form of solar energy as well. This is because wind energy is caused by three concurrent events. 1. The sun unevenly heating the atmosphere. 2. Irregularities of Earth's surface. And 3. The rotation of the Earth. Wind energy mainly depends on the wind flow patterns and speeds that vary across plains, with bodies of water, vegetation, and different terrains contributing. Wind energy both describes the process of wind generating mechanical energy from a large structure called wind turbines, which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. Wind turbines are tall infrastructures that scale up to 100 kilowatts inland to higher than the Statue of Liberty in offshores. They utilize the aerodynamics of rotor blades as wind flows through these blades. The pressure on one side of the rotor is decreased and creates movement through lift or drag. It is connected to a gearbox which generates electricity. Wind turbines are space efficient and are low-cost methods of sustainable energy. However, there is an exchange of adding slight stress financially as frequent maintenance is required to prevent malfunctions and disasters from taking place. This can be seen as a financial benefit to people, as 41 wind turbines have generated over 100,000 jobs in the United States. A consideration for wind turbines is its dependence on wind patterns, as these can vary the outcome of electricity production by a large margin. It also poses a hazard environmentally, as wind turbines have managed to kill 160,000 to 470,000 birds yearly and interferes bat sonar navigation.
There are many problems to consider to create a solution altogether to rid of fossil fuels from daily use, and it involves your contribution to its crisis, particularly socially and environmentally. But to be more simplistic, to combat the use of fossil fuels is to take initiative. A total of 30% of fossil fuels are accounted for the use of gas-fueled appliances alone from each house. Transitioning from gas-fueled appliances to electrical appliances can really make a difference, though it may be financially difficult to change these essentials. It is a change that does not need to be done instantly, but a change for the better. You can start changing daily use, such as a single old shower heads that can produce up to 81.65 to 248.48 kilograms of carbon pollution annually. To prevent this is as simple as changing it into a new shower head. Running the dishwasher less frequently by operating it when it's necessary can prevent 22.68 kilograms of carbon pollution. Old fridges can accumulate up to 454 kilograms of carbon pollution, and it only takes one new fridge to avoid it. To further push sustainability, word must be spread of the use of fossil fuels and the gospel of urgent action. Being socially active in communities by participating in promoting sustainability and awareness of the issue can develop relationship and create impact to the gas emissions, such as joining global movements like Count Us In or Act Now campaign, can lead to a progress of reducing 20% of global carbon emissions. As over-exaggerating as it seems, it is an achievable goal, as a socially proactive community leads to practical activities influenced by sustainability and climate change. This can lead to pressure against political parties, especially those who encourage the use of fossil fuels. To solve this climate change crisis requires the power of the government. Thus, aggravating policy change against fossil fuels would be life-changing. And to contribute is as simple as voting. The strongest suit against climate change that opposes fossil fuels projects and anti-electrification legislation. With the help of government officials, the focus of implementing sustainable resources would forever change the way we live, especially the use of hydropower, the strongest sustainable resource that makes electricity up to 4,211 terawatt hours. Though this solution cannot reverse the pollution, we can reverse our action to stop it from growing further.
Creatures of my dreams,